Welcome to Coffee with the Mayor. I'm Terissa, Aronson, President and CEO of the St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce. We do this event every second Friday of the month.
If you say so.
I'm going to say second. I'm pretty sure that's today. And it's free. It's open to the public. We do it right here at City Hall. We do it in council chambers. We, of course, are going to be visiting with the Honorable Mayor Gregory Oravec. And we actually hand this award out. We're going to start with that today. We hand out an award every month from the Children's Services Council, and it is the Community Impact Award. And we're going to do that first this month. So I have with me, of course, the Executive Director of the Children's Services Council, Boyle. Hi, Sean. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for going out of order today and helping me out with this show. I'm excited about this, not only because I think it's a great program where we're honoring people that work with our children in the community, but also because this winner is part of our Leadership St. Lucie Class 35.
And the award winner is a member, right?
Yes, the award winner is a member. We like that too. So tell us why we do it and who you brought.
Sure. We do the Community Impact Award because every single day there are people working with children and families to make our community stronger. And that obviously not only has an impact on our community and the educational aspect of our community, but also the economic aspect of our community. So we use this time to partner with the Chamber to award somebody that is working hard every single day to make a difference in the lives of children and families. And so today, I always go through our 5 what we do at the Children's Services Council. Do you know those 5?
I get them wrong every time, but every baby's a healthy baby, keeping kids in school.
Yep.
And I don't know.
Off the streets,
stopping
child abuse, and keeping kids off drugs, alcohol, and other risky behaviors. But none of that is possible unless our kids are healthy from a medical and just a health standpoint. So our award winner today is the Center Manager for Florida Community Health Centers, the Darwin Square, the Newport St. Lucie location. And we're giving this award because not only of our efforts to make sure that children and families receive medical services, but as we've talked about in past shows, we've partnered with multiple organizations, including Florida Community Health Centers, to do a St. Lucie Reads initiative.
Oh, yes, of course.
And when we unveiled that, Stephanie Beach, our award winner, was the first one to jump on board and say, we want to do the program where when children and families come in for their well visits, the doctors write them a prescription and hand them a book. And she's been the pioneer to make that happen.
Was it her idea?
Well, it was my idea and Dr. Daniels, the pediatrician. It was a collaborative idea. Yeah.
So I've heard a lot about that.
Formally give this to Stephanie Beach.
Oh, there you go. I'm sorry. Thank you. Stephanie, very exciting. That was a great idea because Sean talks about that a lot in the places that we go. And the Florida Community Health down there in Darwin Square has been open for what, about a
year and a half?
Year and a half?
Yeah, November of 15. So.
And I'm sure you're very busy. Tell us what kind of services you provide there.
Well, we have Dr. Daniels, who's our pediatrician, so we provide pediatric services, we provide adult services, we have a primary care physician, and we provide OB services.
Very good. OB services, too. Mm-hmm. And what type of patients? I know that you help the underinsured. And
we do. We have commercial insurance patients, like North Blue Cross. We also have Medicare patients, Medicaid patients. But we have patients, if they don't have insurance, we have an HBC, it's a health benefit coordinator, who can help them get on insurance. And if for whatever reason, if their circumstance where they can't get on the insurance or they can't afford that, then we have a sliding fee scale. For patients who don't have insurance, if they bring their income in and provide their income to us, we can put them on a sliding fee scale, very, very affordable for them. And they just pay a copay like they would, if you had insurance and you come in, and they could still be seen and get services provided to them without having to not be seen and possibly end up maybe in the hospital or something like that. So it's very nice that we can provide services to these patients who have nowhere else to go.
And you service children and adults then?
Yes.
Of course. And so it's kind of like a private insurance plan, sort of a membership plan almost?
I don't know. You could call it that, but it's just, we just have a sliding fee scale. So based on the household amount in their income. So it's based on the poverty guidelines, it's kind of like an insurance per se. Yeah, they have to keep up with it and continue to provide their income to us on a regular basis. But yeah, it's kind of like that.
Very good. Very interesting. Well, congratulations on this award.
Thank you. Thank you, Sean.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yes, and Stephanie is one of our ambassadors for the Chamber, and also I told you she was part of leadership, which we announced it, and some of her classmates are here today to support her.
Thank you.
They don't take any type of pride or ownership of their class, do they?
Nobody ever does.
Yeah, it's
No,
amazing.
no. Because they don't bother, because leadership class 24 was the best class.
And here we go.
Sean isn't in that alumni yet, but soon, hopefully. I know you're going to. Well, congratulations to you. Congratulations to Florida Community Health, because you do serve the underinsured. The Medicaid, Medicare, that's hard to find in a doctor's office as well. And it's nice that we can get the word out that you do have that availability.
And we have 12 centers. It's not just my center. Okeechobee, we serve Okeechobee, Palm Beach County, Martin County, St. Lucie County, Glades County. We're all around. So we can serve a lot of people and touch many lives. So I really love doing that.
And you have 2 here.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in St. Lucie County.
Oh, wow.
We fund a program that works with teenagers to make sure that they receive their medical services and make sure they're making healthy decisions. But I would encourage anybody, if you know any family that needs medical treatment, if they don't have a doctor or a provider, to go through Florida Community Health Center, because again, as she said, Stephanie said, they work with any insurance provider, and if they don't have it, they work with you to make sure that you still receive the medical care.
Very good. Well, thank you. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Sean, for bringing this to us. And we look forward to St. Lucie Reads. It's going to be the end of June, 22nd.
That's right.
Yeah, go ahead. I open the door.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So we're having a St. Lucie Reads kickoff. We are working with the St. Lucie Mets and Florida Power and Light. So any family that comes to the Mets game on Thursday, June 22nd, we're going to have a table up front. You come with your entire family. We will give a ticket to every single member of your family, so everybody gets in free. And during the game, the first half of the game, the children that attend the game can pick out a free book.
And the mayor will be speaking.
No, he'll be in Miami.
Oh, I was going to speak too, and I'm going to be gone too.
Yes.
Somebody will speak.
So there will be other speakers. We actually do have lined up speakers, but
Okay, I didn't
don't take
realize
away
he
the
was gonna be
momentum.
gone.
We want every family to come on June 22nd. Between us and Florida Power and Light, and we got to give a big thank you to Florida Power and Light for making this possible. We have purchased 4,000 tickets. So if 4,000 children and families come, they're all going to get in. We're removing the obstacle of paying for the game. If we do have 4,000 people that come, I'm pretty sure we're going to set a non-spring training attendance record, but we're willing to go for that, so everybody come out.
I hope we do.
And pray for no rain.
In spirit, I will be there.
All right, we'll give you a ticket.
Very good. All right, well, we will be right back with Mayor Gregory Oravec. Welcome back to Coffee with the Mayor. I'm Terissa Aronson, President and CEO of the St. Lucie County Chamber of Commerce. My pleasure to do this event every month. We provide pastry and Danish, courtesy of Silver Platter Entrees, and it is free, open to the public, 8:30 at City Hall. Actually, we're in City Hall every month, right here in Council Chambers. So please welcome my co-host for this show, the one, the only, Honorable Gregory Oravec, Mayor of the beautiful city of Port St. Lucie. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Welcome.
In the council chambers.
Yes, we are in the council chambers. I like being in here. Everybody sits like they're paying attention.
They are.
Oh,
They're
okay.
wrapped with attention. That's the official terminology.
Okay, wrapped?
Wrapped.
Okay, very good. Now
That's with the T on the end. It's not like you wrapped with Pitbull last night.
How did you know? It was.
It's just your demeanor today. It's very loose. I figured you had some fun.
I have hidden talents. That might be one of them.
There's no question.
What do we want to talk about today? What did you bring with us?
I really wanted to talk about St. Lucie Reads and the importance of reading. So I'm glad that we're going to reinforce the message, because I think really if you want to memorize something, you should read it 7 times. Mm-hmm. So this will be the 2nd time. So we had our friend Sean Boyle up.
Yep.
And people say, why was Sean kicking off the meeting with the Coffee with the Mayor? And it's because the Children's Services Council and our children are so important. They're a part of every show, which happens the what Friday of the month?
Second Friday.
Second Friday of the month.
I'm
That's
taking
right.
a quiz.
Right here at the Port St. Lucie City Council Chambers. But reading is so important, everybody. And everyone in this room, or at least the majority, has probably heard me say it before. If we want a more prosperous community, the way to get there is through education. And when it comes to education, that's a meaty topic, because it goes from when you're out of the womb, maybe even in the womb, all the way to post-secondary, college, university in today's world, or career technical training. So that's a lot to talk about. In that in that pipeline, though, reading is the gateway to all knowledge. And we know from empirical evidence that if you don't get to a kid, if a kid is not reading on level by 3rd grade, statistically, you're never going to catch them, all right? If you're not reading, if a child's not reading on level by 3rd grade, 4 times less likely to graduate than his or her peers reading on level. And if you throw poverty into the mix, which unfortunately does happen all too often, you're 13 times less likely to graduate. That child is 13 times less likely to graduate than his or her peers. So we have to get them by 3rd grade. A little bit of good news. This year, our 3rd grade reading scores in St. Lucie County were up 3 points. Okay, so we have to celebrate that we're moving in the right direction while simultaneously recognizing that we were only at 49%, okay, which is still under a state average. It's roughly 54%, which is well under the theoretical level, which experts say if kids got the proper support that they needed, up to 95% could read on level. So we have a lot of gains that we could achieve by working together, and it's really going to take all of us. So, you know, obviously I've been in this business, not necessarily an elected official for a long time, but I've been in this business for a long time, last couple decades, and certainly have heard about, well, it's, you know, we need this from the parents, or we need this from the school board, or we need this from the teachers, or we need this from the city or the county, but a lot of focus on parents. How long could we preach for there to be a difference in someone's personal household? If we want to change this, it's going to take all hands on deck. It's not an issue of staying in your own lane, or you can't say it takes a village and stay in your own lane all in the same breath. We all have to work together. This is an all hands on deck situation. We all need to find a way how we can personally help children learn how to read, especially by 3rd grade. And that's why we should be so thankful that we have a Children's Services Council, that we have caring corporate sponsors like FPL, and we have the City of Port St. Lucie and the City of Fort Pierce and the school district. Obviously, they're a huge player. The Education Foundation, the Chamber of Commerce. But it can't just be them. It's you. It's everyone that's in this chambers. It's everyone that's watching on TV or the internet. It's everyone in our community. So we will either come together and do this, or we will wish that we had. And so let's come together and make it happen. 3% increase year over year as a start. It's not our end goal, right?
No, and we'll get there. And how can they help? I mean, part of the St. Lucie Reads initiative is talking about mentoring and getting out and doing your part, even if it's only an hour a week.
So what Sean would say is he's going to talk about the word deficit in households and things like that, and that's why they're physically trying to get books into people's hands. Another thing is this year we had St. Lucie Soars, which was great. I participated. You mentor an hour a week with a student for at least one semester, and it was through the Big Brothers Big Sisters program. Outstanding. It was very rewarding. St. Lucie Reads is going to have a mentorship component also, but the barrier to entry is not going to be quite as burdensome, or let me say thorough, because with Big Brothers Big Sisters, you actually go through the background process, the same one as if you were going to be a big brother or a big sister. I mean, they really go through with the fine-tooth comb. They have to really vet on a whole nother level. So I think they're going to allow more people to get in faster, which is a great thing. But I had an AP chemistry teacher, Miss Peak, and one of Miss Peak's great sayings was, "Everything's the same, only different." So anytime we're talking about a campaign, and it doesn't matter if we're talking about St. Lucie Reads or Saving Our River, or, I mean, you just pick the campaign. Time, talent, treasure. So time, we want your time. If you don't have time to give, and you have a talent that you can give more efficiently, then give that talent. If you can't give time or talent, then give some money. So that we could hire or leverage someone else to fill your spot. So for any campaign, time, talent, treasure, that's how you can help in a concrete way.
And I think it's important to note that we have had some great gains with our school system this year in terms of graduation rate. For a district our size, we were one of the largest increased districts year over year for graduation, which is fantastic. And then yesterday it was released that we were the 4th in the state in gains in math scores, which is huge too, because you know how important reading is in math. So Children's Services has been around since 1990. and they have been helping kids all along, and we're starting to reap those rewards. And with our new school board and school board superintendent in place, we're seeing a lot of gains, actually.
Absolutely. So Wayne Gent, our newer, he's been here for a while now. Huh?
Has he?
Yeah.
Probably two years.
I think we're going on just now 2 years.
Yeah.
And he came from Palm Beach County, which was an A-rated school district when he left, but he's previously from St. Lucie. So he came home, and he came home for this challenge of helping us realize our full potential. And to date, he has delivered exactly on his representations. He said, first, we're going to focus on graduation rate, because we think that's kind of the low-hanging fruit. That's most accessible. That's where we can get some really important gains. And then he went and said, after that, we're going to start working on the FSAs, the tests, and the reading and the fundamentals. And it seems like we know the third grade reading went up 3 points. Where we did the fourth best, I think, was in geometry. Those math tests, they break it down. Algebra 2, geometry, so they actually break it down by subject. So they really get in the weeds on that. Of course, science, civics, all of those tests we showed gains on. And then later this summer, we'll actually see what's happening to the school rating. And he's delivered. He certainly has my support. I believe he has the city council's support. And if you followed any of that public conversation regarding what was said or what wasn't said, at the end of the day, we know that the school board is the lead on improving education in St. Lucie. And there was never any question about that. In fact, if you go to your tax bill, you'll see that more of your taxes in Port St. Lucie go to the school board than goes to the city of Port St. Lucie. So clearly they're the lead, and we're just asking, how can we help? And what wasn't reported fully is that we're in the process of working on that. So whether it be recognition programs for excellence or teacher housing, maybe some options with that, with the housing program. And then, of course, right now, the city of Port St. Lucie does authorize all of its employees on city time to participate in St. Lucie SOARs on a weekly basis.
Get out and mentor in the schools.
Correct. And several of our employees, I saw several just at the school that I was mentoring on, and I would hope that the city will also do it for St. Lucie Reads.
I hope so too. Well, I want to talk about some other stuff, because we did not have a show last month.
It was with the realtors. I got my buddy Julio back there.
Yeah. So they had an event. It was a great event. But we did have the Crosstown Parkway groundbreaking.
We did. It's been a while. We haven't had a show since then.
No, I don't think we have.
That was amazing. Did anyone? Was anyone in attendance? Yeah, several people were there, and it was outstanding. Staff did a great job of actually producing that event. It's a serious event.
There was a big tent in the middle of Crosstown Parkway. Yeah, it was great. And
of course, we got the Coast Guard permit back in May, and there was a 30-day period before we could drive piles. So they started on that on Monday, but unfortunately the weather, with all the lightning we had, and a big tall crane is kind of a lightning hazard. It's a lightning rod.
It is a lightning rod, but yes.
Yeah.
But we're glad that they're working out there and they're driving piles.
They are, and we did have some issues. If you're in like the Walters Terrace area or the Evergreen or Thornhill, we have some detours out there. And there are some businesses. If you're familiar with Floresta, there's a little neighborhood center there, which is actually within the detour zone. So we're trying to balance. One of the tough things about being an elected official is balancing competing interests, because none of us agree on everything. So what happens when you get in that 50-50 zone or that 60-40 zone? It gets really, really tough, because there is a significant part of the population that is understandably of a different opinion. And how do you split the baby if you're Solomon, or how do you split the hair if you have any?
Sophie's choice.
Yeah, so it's tough, but we're getting through that, and it is getting better, because this was the first week of detours. But if you're out there, please stick with us. The staff's working hard to mitigate that. And I actually did a little informal poll on Facebook about driving piles, and would people want to work, would the residents, would they want us to drive piles longer and later in the day, on the weekends, in order to be done faster? And I was really amazed at how polite Port St. Lucie is, because they're like, no, let's respect the neighbors. Let's stick to 8 to 5. Let's treat them how we'd want to be treated.
So there was a
Golden
consensus.
rule. Yeah, it was on my informal. Facebook
Informal.
poll, very informal, not scientific
Are all your
anyway.
friends nice? Is that what it is?
If there was an FSA for statistics, this would have been a 0. But yeah, they were very nice, golden rule. So
Oh, that's nice.
2 years and change.
When
we'll
you
be done
open
with
yourself up
Crosstown.
to any poll on Facebook, I applaud you. It takes courage. It probably isn't going to end well, but I'm glad you got a consensus and they all said daytime. Because we have one of the businesses out there in that little plaza you speak of, Floresta Plaza, Acock Funeral Home has a hub out there.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's no getting around it. It's not going to be convenient for some period of time. But in the end, we will all be thankful.
Yes, indeed. And actually, obviously, they're good community partners, and we have a strong relationship with them. But on that one, honestly, directly, that's actually easier to manage because with the funeral, it's a planned event. You can kind of, you can tell the customer, the audience who's coming, what the situation is. It's tougher for the pizza shop that has drive-by or the convenience store that has the drive-by traffic because their flow of traffic is.
So let's encourage everybody here and watching to take the detour and head over to the convenience store there or the pool store there.
If
What
you
else
do
is
take
there?
the detour, remember, don't speed down someone else's residential street. You don't like
Kids
it
are
when
playing.
That's right. It's true. Golden rule. You don't like it when people speed down your street.
No,
Don't be that person on someone else's street.
no. Very good. It is the golden rule. Well, what else do we have to talk about before we open it up to questions for everybody?
Well, let's. How do you start your day? Every day. Like, do you have a routine?
I do. I don't remember what it is. Somehow I get here, though.
Oh, man.
I wake up, there's usually a shower, maybe some coffee.
Maybe some memory vitamins we should put in.
Some
there.
ginkgo is
Yeah, exactly.
I've been on the list to buy for several years now.
Excellent. Well, I like to read the paper every day. Like my friend there, he's doing Words with Friends. I like to do the
saw
jumble.
that.
I play jumble every morning after I read the paper. And I also, honestly, I read the comics. And you just never know where you're going to find wisdom. So today, this
Marmaduke?
morning, no, Ziggy.
Okay.
So Ziggy, it was making fun of our polarized politics. It was talking about pledging allegiance to a party. And, you know, in the chambers, we always have the flag. We always start our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. And when's the last time that you actually thought about the words versus just reciting it from memory? And so when we pledge allegiance, we don't pledge allegiance to a political party or, you know, a very polarized way of thought. We pledge allegiance to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's not, notice that it's one nation, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. It's not liberty and justice for some.
For
It's
the
not liberty and
Democrats or
justice
Republicans.
for the people that believe the exact same things we do. It's for all. And I would just encourage everyone to not just say it, but think about it and mean it, because things like that, those type of values make a difference in the long run, just like the golden rule.
They do. Treat others.
Like you want to be treated.
Yes.
Okay, property values up 10.25%.
Holy
So
moly.
that's a good thing.
Good if you're selling, not great if you're buying. It's always a catch-22. The world is a give and take.
Well, you know, at the end of the day, that's one of our, for most of us, for many of us, that is our most important asset.
Yeah.
And who here wants to see their asset diminish in value? You know, so hopefully we're all in favor of seeing our assets appreciate. And as a city, our community asset appreciated at 10.25%. Now, so again, this is a situation where you simultaneously celebrate something positive, but then you recognize the reality of the situation. And that is, even though we went up 10.25%, we're still only 66.5% of peak value established in 2007. So we've been on an upward trajectory from the bottom of the Depression, but we're only 66.5% out of the hole. So be glad that our asset went up 10.25%, but recognize that we're just 2/3 up to the high water mark, okay? So think about that. And then also, you know, my policy positions, I like to keep taxes low. I want to get the debt low. And even though the property value is appreciated, one of the things that'll keep us from really rolling back the tax rate is that the legislature authorized another homestead exemption. And that homestead exemption, although it might be good for the individuals in the voting booth
For a short time.
for a short time, the reality is it'll cut $6 million out of the city budget. And even though we have a $500 million budget, a lot of that's capital and utilities. Property tax is what funds the general fund, which pays for your police department, your parks and rec, your some of your public works, all
your
the services.
Quality of life.
Correct.
Yeah.
But definitely PD and parks and rec. That's what the general fund, in addition to all the services that you see here at City Hall, but PD and parks and rec. So you just can't cut $6 million out of that budget. If the police department budget's $35 million, you can't just cut $6 million out of that. So it's nice for the legislature to say, hey, we enabled the big tax cut, but the reality is that falls on the locals, and they're just pushing it somewhere else. It's you put your hole in the dike, and another
it's a shell game.
Hole springs
you
up.
might save it on your tax bill, but trust me, you're going to pay for it somewhere else in your quality of life, some other bill, some sort of millage increase, which is going to be necessitated by that kind of tax cut. So be careful what you wish for, I think, sometimes.
Absolutely. So no, hopefully there will be some type of small millage rate decrease. That's subject to council's deliberations. We're about to go into our budget meetings, our retreat this summer, as we go into the September budget approval process. But if I'm prognosticating, if I'm forecasting, I'm saying that I'm hoping that there will be a small millage decrease. But that remains to be seen. We've got to worry about that $6 million threat.
Yeah.
And then I know that snowbirds don't vote, but the thing about this additional homestead exemption is that if you are non-homestead and you could have the exact same house as someone next door, and you've already been complaining about why your taxes are double, it just got worse. And it also got worse for the commercial business. For the commercial property owners. So non-homesteaded taxpayers and commercial business owners, property owners, they're going to pay a greater proportion of property taxes as a result of the continuing homestead exemptions.
Businesses are going to get hit hard by this, and I think they need to realize that when they opt into that $25,000 extra tax break. And we'll talk more about that when we know it's going to be up for vote eventually, and when we know and we have a date, we'll probably start getting out and talking more about that.
We'll figure out how to make it work.
The repercussions that may come from that. I do want to open it up to questions because it's only quarter after, and there's a chance we'll get out of here on time.
There is.
It's slim, but there's a chance. And now nobody wants to answer questions because they don't want to prolong it. But does anybody have a question for the mayor or for the chamber? Or? Wow.
We have one right here. Come on.
I know she.
No?
Oh boy, she clammed up fast.
Yeah.
Anybody? Jane? I know it's bad when we're inviting Jane to the mic. There's nothing but blank faces out there if we're inviting Jane to speak. So does anybody have anything they want to ask or share?
Yeah, this is your chance to ask anything. Anything
that's going on? Okay, well, I'm going to talk about something really then, what can we talk about that will force them into wanting to ask questions?
I don't know if they're a member or not, so close your ears, but has anyone been to the new Culvers yet?
Oh, they're members.
Yeah.
Yay!
So it's really outstanding. Could not believe how good it was.
Their custards are delicious. They are members. They came in early, and we're happy to have them.
I recommend them on a dietary cheat day.
Yes.
But the fish sandwich was so good. I'm looking forward to going back. It was amazing.
I went there and I thought I was lactose intolerant, but then I realized I had a cheeseburger, cheese curds, and a custard. And it might have just overloaded.
If you're going to have to pay, make it worth it.
But it was good. It was so good. Wisconsin cheese curds. I'm from the Midwest. We have those, but I don't think, do you see those very often down here? Had anybody else eaten Wisconsin cheese curds before? Yeah. Midwesterners, we like our cheese.
Yeah, I'd never experienced it before as a Florida boy, but it was outstanding.
Did you eat them?
Really high quality. Oh, yeah. It's like a cheese stick, except smaller and a little bit more moisture content.
Yeah, different cheese.
Awesome.
Very good. So we're just going to talk about really,
we'll cut
really impactful stuff like cheese curds, unless anybody wants to ask a question.
No, we were supporting a local business.
We were.
In Port St.
Gerald
Lucie.
is the franchise owner over there, and he's been a great partner already. So we're happy to have that. New business? Oh, everybody wants to know the new business. Well, I always get this question: where is my Starbucks going? And
which one?
I know it. So they want to know about Starbucks. They always ask me what is the new building that is not labeled. Usually if it's a retail outlet like a Tire Choice, they have the sign up for 2 years out, Tire Choice still coming soon. But there was a building on Port St. Lucie Boulevard just west of Del Rio, and that's
a dialysis.
That's a dialysis center, so that's why you're not getting the retail signage. And we're getting in all a Chick-fil-A, yes?
They're still in the process. It's my understanding that they're having difficulty with the Bank of America. This is on St. Lucie West Boulevard. They're trying to negotiate a cross-access easement. And
Okay.
there's been some difficulties between private parties there,
Oh, Bank of America doesn't want to share their driveway?
basically.
Okay. I like
All right.
I like to bring it down to the, nuts and bolts of it. And Starbucks?
Starbucks, we have two. We have one right down the street, just west of City Hall, where that's going to be the Marisol edition. And then we also have one on Gatlin Boulevard, just across the street from the Home Depot entrance.
Yep.
Yeah.
And also Chick-fil-A, or no, Popeyes.
Popeyes is PSL Boulevard. On the same side of the road as KFC. Evidently, chickens cross the road to the same side. And so just right down the street.
Because the breading's better, but I won't say which one.
No, do not. Don't
I
go
would
there.
never.
And then Zaxby's is going out by the new Walmart Neighborhood Center.
On Port St. Lucie Boulevard, Darwin Square.
Yeah, Darwin.
Very good. We have another question. We have another brave soul. Tore himself away from Words with Friends.
Zinnia is a good word for Words with Friends. Zinnia.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
Or QI, which I don't remember what it means, but it's a crosswords word.
Is there any official effort to bring the Costco to St. Lucie County?
We get that question a lot, and I always have my same I say the same thing about Hooters, Costco, a Cheesecake Factory, and the numbers have to be there. The market has to be there, but that's always my 2 cents. As soon as we have the population that denotes them coming here, that indicates that they will be viable here, we will get one.
Costco is a little bit different, though, because they are going to Martin County,
Yeah.
and they were experiencing resistance. So I reached out to corporate and created and facilitated with the residents, of course, to do a letter writing campaign, an email campaign.
Chamber got in on that. We sent emails.
And
Yep.
everyone did. And I don't know if we cracked the 1,000 mark, but we definitely had 500 plus people write Costco. And the word from the very top is that they are committed to that site, and it would take a final no. And indications are that they're being brought through, this is a metaphor, broken glass, but that eventually they'll get the permit. It will take a full-on, flat-out denial, and then but I don't think that's going to happen. If that did happen, we'd be the next stop.
I hope so. They do have a sign up on, what is it out there, 714 Martin Highway? No.
Well, it's right at that corner.
Right there, that Costco is coming. The sign is there that the Costco is going into Martin
Yeah,
County.
they're fully committed, and I have reached out after every bad bump in the road for them in Martin County, and they've remained steadfast. They've sunk the money into it, and they're going to ride it all the way to the end.
And their market research says that's the place for them to be, and that's just the way things go. But I always say I want them to do their market research because I want them to be viable. There's nothing worse than a business that opens and closes. That sends the wrong message to future business. It sends the wrong message to the community. So I like them to do their market research. I think it's smart and figure out if we're a good place for them to be. I do think Costco would do quite well here, and I would love to have them here, but I'd also love to have a Cheddar's. Hooters I'm okay with.
We have a Cheddar's.
I mean, a Cheesecake Factory. Yeah.
So
Yeah, we do have a Cheddar's.
I ate a Cheddar's
Another
this week.
member
It
of the
was
chamber. Go eat at Cheddar's. Okay.
In all honesty, their 2-minute mile radius, their 2-minute drive time, their 2-mile radius is really good in Martin County because Martin Downs
Yeah.
and the affluent area right there. But once you go out to 5 miles and 15 minutes, their market is Port St. Lucie. So that really could have easily been here. And there are some things I won't say on TV, but that I would be happy to share with you individually.
Danae has a question. Mark's going to run over there. Oh, Angela's first. Sorry, Danae.
Thanks. I just wanted to find out, we have an abundance of Walmart, like all over in St. Lucie County. And I just want to know the reason why and how does that affect your small mom and pop store that's surrounded in our community?
So the reason why is that we're creating demand for what they supply. So you're seeing the free market in action, and it's really tricky for government to get into the business of limiting one retailer over another. That kind of violates a lot of our principles of equity and parity. So the only way you could really get at that I've seen from a governmental perspective is that if you had good reason, you could limit square footages of buildings. You have to treat the class equally. The problem with that is we want a Costco. How big is a Costco? We like Home Depot, we like Lowe's. So once you get into the business of picking and choosing between your residents, regardless of, what they sell or, classes of people, et cetera, that's a very slippery slope. And so that's why you don't see many people, many governmental entities go down that road unless you have some type of special basis like a historic downtown.
Deed restricted.
And you're just restricting it from a specific area. But for a city of Port St. Lucie that's a platted community, it's really hard to make the argument that any area is different than another or that there is we don't have a historic downtown. That's a fact. So it's really hard to go down that road of limiting it. Thank you for the question.
I know, fair market is what this country was built on, so that's what we're going to live by for sure. Danae had a question.
Yeah, I was just wondering, it seems like we have the population for some of the larger retailers or the other economic indicators, income levels, or is it possible that we could encourage small business more than trying to attract larger retailers?
Well, there are economic indicators for sure in market research for the big box companies or the large chains. So they're going to have economic indicators. The population is not the only thing they build by. I think that we encourage small business every day with groups like the Chamber. We have a large portion of small businesses in the Chamber. A great deal of our members are small businesses, and we always do our Shop Local campaign because we want you to get out there. But at the same time, we do need those larger companies as well. And I think that people here, you all have shopped at Walmart. You've all eaten at those chains, and it's part of being an economically viable community. So you do need a healthy mixture of both, in my opinion, but that's just from a chamber standpoint. But your thoughts on that?
Well, most employment comes from small business. So that was a two-part question, and you were kind of arguing both sides. So first we started with why aren't we attracting the bigger ones? And what I would say is that, thank you for both questions. So one, we're up to 185,000 now as a city. So you're always looking a year back, but the census does updates. And the July 2016 numbers were just released. So even though we're in June of 17, the July 16 numbers were just released, and we're at 185,000. So we're continuing to grow. The last official number was 179,413. So we grew again. But here's the rub. We're in an urbanized area of 300,000. Okay, and I want you to compare us in your mind to those places that have the retailers that you want. Is it Palm Beach?
Fort Lauderdale?
Is it Broward? Is it Miami-Dade? Yeah. Is it Hillsborough? Is it the Orlando metro area that includes Orange, Lake, and all these other counties? Because you can't go by the invisible line. So we celebrate that we're growing and we're prospering. We're 185,000, but we're part of a 300,000 person urbanized area. That's the market size. And Palm Beach is over 1 million. Broward's over 1.5 million. Miami-Dade might be 2.4 million at this point, but it's even larger. So that's the issue. So there's a dichotomy there. It's just there's a difference because you got to look at urbanized area. And then even though Jensen Beach and Martin is small, the mall is already established. So the trade area, the Jensen Beach trade area, is already in concrete. And so we've always fought that. And what you're seeing is that Tradition and St. Lucie West are far enough away to be their own market, or at least a significant sub-market. So that's why you're seeing the retailers choose there. But the ones that need 100,000 people making 100,000 a year, like Cheesecake Factory, we still do not have that demographic. And because this issue comes up over and over again, one of the things that the city is going to do this year is we're going to actually hire a retail specialist to go down the list of your favorite retailers. And then to the extent that they can release it, it's not proprietary information, they are going to provide the demographic that's required, necessary to attract that retailer. So we can educate on this because we get this. We get this all the time. So that's on the attracting the chain side, but obviously the chains are coming to Port St. Lucie. Now, if you're holding out for a mall, read another article about malls yesterday, they're dying.
They are dying.
They're contracting. I think in the last 5+ years, only 22 malls have been built in the whole country, and they're really struggling with online retail, or at least the model is changing. And what this article said, it actually reinforces the point, is that people do not go to the malls frequently, so you don't need it to be convenient anymore. You will save up and go to the A-rated location. And the A-rated location, I'm being brutally honest, is not Port St. Lucie. The A location is Palm Beach Gardens. A location is Bal Harbor Shops. A-rated location is, pick one in Miami-Dade. You want to go to Dadeland, because that's historically been one of the largest grossing malls per square foot. You want to go to Sawgrass, if you can get through a flooded parking lot. That's the A-rated location. So you're going to order a lot of your stuff online, and when you want to have an experience, you and your group, that you're going to go to that special destination and spend the day.
Speaking of experience.
Well, hold on. Small business. Sorry, this is what happens when you ask me questions.
Are we just now getting to the second part? The second question? Okay.
So small business, it's still in America, more than half of all employment is created by small business. And we have great success with small business. In fact, Port St. Lucie was just nationally ranked by WalletHub.com as being a top 20 place in the country
to start a business.
Yeah. And the only other one on that list was Orlando, and I think we came in ahead of them.
Yep.
So we do have small business generation. We are lucky to have an alphabet soup of helping organizations out there. We have the SBA, we have the SBDC, we have SCORE, and we obviously, in Florida, we all have our regional career source, but we have the incubator at IRSC. So there are a lot of resources out there. We have the Chamber of Commerce and Terissa Aronson.
Right here.
I was saving the best for last.
Oh, okay.
So all of those resources exist. The city is in the process of bringing on a business navigator. Yep. Our billing department does training. That's where the occupational tax is paid. So it's natural that a lot of the training be in the billing department, because you're going there anyways when you're starting up that business. So there are a lot of resources. And we try to share the information as much as possible, because like anything else, the opportunity is there, but it's up to the individual to take advantage of it and leverage it. Can't do it for them. Now, we can try to make things easier and market as much as possible. And I suspect that our business navigator will work with our great communications department, our team that we have coming together there, to get the word out and try to streamline that alphabet soup for people.
They need some help, I think, on the front end, especially if they're opening brick and mortar. Speaking of brick and mortar and small businesses, I want to talk about these because we have great news. Every month, the Chamber of Commerce is seeing new businesses open. Average of probably 4 or 5 a month. And we have all of these businesses I'm going to talk about opening today are small businesses. The first one in Port St. Lucie in the 34952, which is the east side of town, is St. Lucie Battery and Tire is going to open up a new location at Port St. Lucie Boulevard and US 1. And I bet many of the people here think it's a big chain because they have so many. But they're a local company. The Miller family has opened that company, and they've been longtime St. Lucie County residents.
Yeah, go on the website and read Joey Miller's story. It's fun.
It's a great story.
It's a great story.
But they are a small local business, realistically. Also, Councilwoman Morgan's favorite place to shop is Casey Creek Southern Boutique. It happens to be in Fort Pierce, but we don't see boundary lines, right?
No, we love the Sunrise City.
We do, and we just want to see small business succeed. So Casey Creek is going to have a ribbon cutting and grand opening on June 15th. At 5:15, it's from 4 to 6 if you want to come out. And the Sears Hometown, the Sears Hometown on US 1 in Fort Pierce has been there for decades, and it is locally owned. And they're going to have a kind of grand reopening on June 16th. It's an open house. You don't see too many Sears Hometowns anymore, so come out and support that. And of course, the Regal Event Hall is a lovely young lady. She's out in St. Lucie West on University, in the University Park where Career Source is, and she is opening an event hall, just a room to come and rent and have your events. And that's going to be June 22nd. It's a Thursday at 5:15.
Excellent.
Those are all small businesses and hopefully future success stories, although I'm pretty sure the Millers are okay.
Yes, yeah, they're doing all right.
They're doing fine.
Sales tax is collected countywide, so just keep it in the county. And like I always say, if you're going to go and get new kitchen cabinets or whatever, make sure you go to your Port St. Lucie or St. Lucie County, Home Depot, Lowe's, etc., versus making the trip across the county line. Like if technically this would never happen, but if theoretically you saw me at the Jensen Beach Aldi's, know that that's okay because there's no sales tax on groceries, right?
I'm gonna need to check your bags though. And you did too. Ask to see the
And the
items
cashiers,
in his bag.
not that I would be there, but I think that if you would ask that the cashiers are Port St. Lucie residents.
I think that happens a lot, so we're happy about that. But that's true. Our sales tax stays local, so it matters if you go to Home Depot in Jensen or if you go to Home Depot here in St. Lucie County. And we have 3 of them, so not that I don't love Martin County, but I love Home more.
That's right.
Yeah.
Keep it local.
Okay, we got one more question probably before we got to get out
This
of
will
here.
be the last one for this Friday edition.
No pressure.
There was some talk about a new Department of Motor Vehicles office out on Village Parkway and Tradition. Do you have anything on that? It's been years.
I was actually with
haven't
Chris
heard much.
Kraft on Tuesday.
Thank goodness for Trish Aronson.
I go to a lot of meetings. I always say that. I was actually with our tax collector, Chris Kraft, our constitutional tax collector on Tuesday, and he spoke about that. He talked a lot about the service to the community and the wait times and keeping staff costs down and training. And so we're growing. We are a very large community, 185,000 people, and there are very relatively low wait times, and that's going to help with that.
So what's the timeline for construction?
Who was with me? Mark and Loretta. I think he said 2019, if I'm not mistaken, but please don't. Yeah, okay, yay! I got something right. 2019.
You're not adding any new employees.
Yeah, no new employees. They're just going to redirect staff and make it convenient, and they're adjusting their hours because realistically they want to, pinpoint the customer service to a certain amount of hours. It's helpful, but the wait times are low.
So 2 years. 2 years. It's still coming. 2 years.
Very good. All right, so that was our last question. Anything else you want to add?
No.
Share news you want to share? I can't think of anything, but
June 22nd, Sean, 5:30.
St. Lucie Reed.
First data.
And we were both supposed to speak at that, and I guess we're both out of town now.
I'll be at the U.S. Conference of Mayors annual conference. I wish I could be there for St. Lucie Reed's.
I'm going to be in London.
Wow.
So it's good.
All right, everybody. This edition is over. Have a great weekend. Thank you.